Hi, it's Stu from Guildford AI here. Well, I've had a couple of questions about MCP and what is it with AI agents, and I thought rather than just reply back to that one person, I was going to explain it in a video and we could share it with everybody. So this video, I'm going to show you how to create a presentation with AI from scratch and show you the power of what agents can do. If you haven't used this to create presentations before, hopefully you'll find this helpful. If nothing else, it's certainly good to have knowledge of what's going on, and you can see where this is heading as well. So what is MCP? Model Control Protocol, I think it is, something like a Model Context Protocol. The idea of that is you give capabilities to an AI agent to actually be able to perform actions and to be able to make things happen rather than just talking about it. This is where the power of AI really comes into its own. So we're all familiar with the chatbot system. You know, you go on to OpenAI, you can have a good back and forth conversation about any kind of topic, and it's incredibly knowledgeable. But that's kind of where it ends. It kind of like will generate some code for you, copy and paste it, and so forth. What agentic AI does is it's able to call out. And it is doing exactly what you're doing with the chatbot anyway. It's just using some special tokens to be able to say, invoke this action. And there is a bit of a framework around it. And MCP is just a way to make it so that all of these AI agents, whether you're using Anthropic or you're using OpenAI or Qwen, all of these models understand this capability of being able to invoke a function. And so you can create what's called an MCP wrapper. So rather than just talking about it and hand waving, I want to actually show you a real world example here. So we've made a system called kanban.guildford.ai, which is effectively a to-do list. I realize there's lots of these out there like monday.com and so forth. The thing that this one's different is it's actually tailored for AI agents to use. Humans can use it too. I use it day to day, but it's more for AI agents to use. So I'll kind of want to show you a little bit about that, and then I'll show you an example of it making a presentation with it. So here we go. This is kanban.guildford.ai. It's free to use. You just sign in, get an account, and you have a list of all your boards. So you can create brand new boards, and you inside a board you can create projects. So like my test project, right? Whatever you want to call it, or today's work. And inside the my test project, we might have like awaiting, doing, completed, and cancelled as columns. You can create and edit these columns, and you create work items like, you know, whatever, right? So when you've done that, you can then drag them across, and you're basically showing the state it's in, and it's for a team environment, so everyone can see what everyone else is working on. Now, what we want to do is, instead of a human using it, we want AI using this. Now, if we go to the company settings in here, you can see this is a free version. So again, you can use all of this without paying for anything. We get to this Claude Code MCP endpoint. And this is where we expose the functions that are available for your AI agent to call into. So let's do this a real world scenario. We're going to go to Claude here and say, hey there, Stuart. Right. We're familiar with this. This is Claude Desktop running here. I do pay for the Pro version. I think it's only £20 a month, but it's certainly worth it. You click on Settings, and we go to Connectors. And Connectors is just basically a way of saying MCP, really. If we go to Browse Connectors here, you can see a list of all the various different services that have already created endpoints that work with Claude. So if you wanted to access your email, you could use Gmail and so forth. What we're going to do is, though, is slightly different. We're going in the level before that. So we want to use our own personal MCP endpoint that has not been reviewed and approved by Anthropic at this point. Obviously, we could do that. I just want to show, for purposes of this demo, how you can make your own and how you can connect your own services. So here we click Add Custom Connector, and we want to give it a name. So we're going to call this Kanban. Kanban. And then we need to know the server location of where the AI agent is supposed to call out to be able to invoke those services. Now, typically, this is a cloud service or a remote server. You can run them locally as well. It just means that you have to have Claude running locally on your PC so that you can call locally. Obviously, don't let your computer go to sleep. But for this scenario, Kanban is actually available. It's all on the internet. It is a cloud service, so you can actually just go over to Kanban Guildford AI, and we're going to put in this endpoint, which is API MCP. So I'll copy that, place it in, and we have to set some advanced settings as well because we're actually acting on behalf of a user. So Claude is going to be pretending like it's me effectively, or have its own account. So we need to set up the OAuth details, which we do that by clicking in Kanban Guildford AI. We have registered new client, so we'll call it our Claude client, for instance. Register it, and it gives us a client ID and client secret. Simply copy that, client ID, client secret, add those in, and that's it. What that's done is it's called this API endpoint, and it's got a list of every function that Claude has access to. Now you can specify whether you always allow it to do it without prompting you for is it allowed to perform this task, or you can say it does need approval, or you can actually ban it. So for instance, if it's Gmail and maybe you don't want to allow it to delete emails, you could ban the delete function call. And in here, we've got a whole bunch of different functions for Kanban, specifically Kanban. So one is create project, another one is create work item. So let's go into actually using that. So we're going to have a new chat. And in this new chat, we're going to say, hey Claude, can you create me a new Kanban project called my presentation? Okay, and it'll now search through all of the connected MCPs for anything that understands about the word Kanban and a project, and it's found it. It goes, hey, look, I've got your new Kanban project. My presentation has been created. It set up these columns. Would you like me to add any work items to it? We certainly will. So let's go back to Kanban and see what it's done. So in here, we should be able to just refresh. Let's have a look. And there's my presentation. So we'll open it up. And we can see it's a blank board ready to add some new items to. Now, the really cool thing about this Kanban board is it's got these work items that obviously you can see what the team's doing, but you've also got artifacts. And artifacts are where you can upload files and versions of the files. So we're going to take advantage of that. Let's go back to Claude. I'm going to say, I'm going to use Whisper to write this. Hey Claude, I'd like to make a presentation about the project kanban.guildford.ai, and it should be a 3-page presentation summarizing what Kanban can do. Can you try to copy the style of the website kanban.guildford.ai when making this presentation? For each page of the presentation, create a work item. As you work on each slide of the presentation, move the Kanban work item into progress and into review when you're ready for me to take a look at it. Once all the pages have been created, can you upload the presentation to the Kanban artifacts board, please? Simple as that, right? This should be enough for Claude to start working on it. And if we go back to the Kanban system, this is a live system. You can see it's connected there live. We should be able to actually watch it think. Now, what we're doing here is this is Claude using just one agent, so it is working in a serial fashion of one item at a time. You can set it up to be running multiple agents. So if you've got a very big project, maybe you're making a presentation of 100 slides, you might want to have multiple agents working on different sections of the presentation. But you can see what it's doing here. I'm not touching it. This is all, Claude's doing this now. It's determined slide 1 is going to be the title page, slide 2 is going to be the core features, and slide 3 is like, why should you use Kanban? Yeah. So once it's created those, I was expecting, here we go, it started to move slide 1 into in progress. It's now working on this slide behind the scenes. You can kind of see, we can follow the thought process down here. And what it's doing is to generate slides. Claude's quite clever about this. It's actually writes code to generate a presentation. So it's actually writing Python code, I believe, in the background, and then it's running it in a sandboxed environment to generate these slides. It is surprisingly good at actually generating presentations this way. I mean, for a human to do it, it's really hard, but the AI seems to have no problem doing this. It actually understands formatting. It will convert the presentation to a PDF and then visually inspects it afterwards to see if there's any text overlaps and what items need to be moved. It's quite a robust cycle for creating presentations, but I guess we should expect that. It's what a lot of people need to do and work. So if you are still making presentations by hand from scratch, get on board. This will save you so many hours. I'd also like to say one of the big misconceptions that we're seeing is AI is taking jobs. That's not true. It is just empowering people. It means that you can get far more done in the same day, which means you can be more productive, less stressed. You can be delegating more and not pretend, you are actually just managing a very clever, enthusiastic person who needs guidance. That's how I'd interpret these agents. So here we go. It's done slide number 1. It's converting the images to inspect what the page looks like, and you can see it's already noticed that the text is a bit funky, so it needs to rework this a little bit. As it's going through this iterative process, obviously it's burning through credits. Now, Claude is quite good in that you don't get charged when you get to the limit. It simply just stops, and there's a period of like 5 hours, I think it is, that it cycles on. So if you exhaust your credits, you have to wait 5 hours and then it will continue again. So you don't have to worry about overspending as such. You can see what it's doing right now. This is quite cool. I'm getting to talk and make a video while it's generating and doing these slides. So now it's done slide 1 and slide 2 now ready for review. Slide 3, here we go. This is the big one. Once it's completed this, I would expect it to now, I'm going to scroll down so we can watch it. It would now start the upload artifact process. Now this part is where a lot of people struggle. It's like, oh, well, it's now just captured within Claude, and how do we update the versions and so forth. This is why I like using the artifacts feature of our Kanban system. It uploads a version. If you upload a second version, it does keep version history. And effectively, I could turn my laptop off because all of this is running in the cloud, and it would just continue magically, and I just get my project, my PowerPoint presentation at the end of its cycle. So here we go. It's now uploading the Kanban artifacts. So I'll just move this over here because it'd be quite to see. We should see this artifact button change to number 1 when it's completed uploading. It's not the fastest, but it's a heck of a lot faster than a human. I mean, putting together 3 slides from scratch, you're probably talking, an hour's worth of work somebody's going to say it's going to take, right? This thing can put together an entire sales presentation in like 10-15 minutes. I did one for another project yesterday. It was 11 pages long, 15 minutes. All of it was done in the right style and the right branding, because I gave it the branding guidelines. That's one of the key things to do with presentations. Maybe I'll make a video on how to do that as well. And with that, you'll see that it's just giving you the tools so that you can be incredibly productive. It means that I'm now able to work on something else while it is generating the presentation. The amount of time saving is phenomenal, because now I just go in and I can actually just tweak how I want the presentation to look, how I would have written it, but without having to worry about the placement of objects, and without having to worry too much about how am I going to phrase this in such a way that it's in tone with the rest of the brand. The other thing that is incredibly helpful about how this system works is it can learn as well, and Claude is slightly different. It does have a very deep iterative loop. Staff Extra is the one that we're working on. It's a bit of an R&D project at the moment, and that learns. That's where I think it differs. Each agent has its own memory, and it can kind of recall from there what you've done previously to be able to reuse that knowledge in future. It is something which I'm sure all AIs will be doing. OpenAI does have a concept of memory as well in their chat system, but obviously not via their API. And with Claude, if you use their API, I think it's like 4 times as expensive than using their desktop service. So they're really pushing you to use their tools and get you captured in their ecosystem, which is great. They offer phenomenal cutting edge frontier models. Don't get me wrong, I love them to bits. But as a business, sometimes you can't allow that data to go out. So for instance, oh, here we go. Right, it's generated the artifacts now. You can see just here. So if I click that, we can see here's their Kanban presentation. I can then click download. And there we go. There's our 3 slides for Kanban Guildford AI. And the AI-powered MCP integration has picked all of this up from the website of what it can do, and it's done a pretty good job. I mean, the colours need a little bit tweaking, but and the font I'm not particularly a fan of. But this is easy now to tweak. I can just go back to Claude and say, hey, can you change the font for these things? Can you reword certain pages? Change the colours. It will handle all of that, and as it uploads a new version appears in our artifacts. So I hope that kind of helps explain what MCP does. Obviously, you could write your own, you could integrate with the existing ones, but the more power you give it, the more these agents can do for you. So I hope that's helpful, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.